Hey everybody, and welcome back. Today I am doing a long-awaited wire stripper shootout. This was prompted because I actually have a set of wire strippers that I use at the shop, but I hate them. These are a Mac Tool brand, and they honestly, I find like they misfire more often than they actually work. So I had a bunch of wire strippers on my wish list for a while, but another maker, when he sent me a package, he included actually two wire strippers, and I've since wanted to do a shootout between them. And I figured I would go to the shop, grab my Mac Tools one, and put these up against these two. Now this one here is definitely Chinesium, the JX 1301. They are, well, you can see there, they're from another maker, but they are totally Chinesium. But even so, they are very smooth. They run very well. I don't know how well they strip yet, but they do seem pretty nice compared to the Mac Tools, which are, oh look at that. They misfired on me. I am missing a tensioning screw here, but yeah, it long fell out, and honestly it didn't really change the behavior much. But yeah, this thing is now misfiring every time. And then there's these guys, which are just some sort of manual ones. I figure the first thing I'm going to do is give you a tour around these tools up close, and then we're going to have a little shootout. And maybe we'll even look at the results under a microscope. So first up are the long-suffered Mac Tools one. And if you don't know how these automatic wire strippers work, basically they have a spring here that goes over a little cone. You see that? See, and then you squeeze it. Whoops. And you squeeze and it kind of fires over the cone there. But that little spring makes it so that these arms can pivot outwards, and they push these little jaws down, and you see here there's three little teeth in there. Those three teeth grab the insulation, and then these two teeth grab the insulation on the other side, and when you squeeze, it pulls the insulation apart. So this one here would strip the end of your wire. So just feed the end of the wire in through this way. I can demo it. I'm not sure if it'll actually strip it for us. Here we go. There we go. So it did strip it. And yeah, there's some pieces of wire still stuck in there. So it broke some. But yeah, not too bad, I guess. It did strip. If we continue along, so that's one tool here. If we continue along down this way, there is a wire cutter, which we can use, sort of like that. It leaves a quite flattened and blunt end. We've got a insulated crimper, so we would just put like something with insulation through here. A non-insulated crimper, it's this shape here. If I block off this, makes kind of like a little divot. And then we've got some bigger crimps here and an even bigger crimp here. So basically it's a stripping, cutting, and crimping tool all in one. But yeah, this one here, it's seen some life, but I feel like I forgive this tool every couple of months, and I try it and it's terrible, and I just go reaching for my side cutters to strip wire because this thing is frustrating. Or I'll use a razor blade and just roll the wire sort of over the blade. Seems to work well as well. So yeah, this is the Mac Tools one, and I would recommend you do not buy this one. Next up we have the Chinesium JX 1301, and this works exactly the same way. See, it's got these little pawls there that move these little teeth in and out, but this here has a tensioning mechanism right through here, so that's pretty nice with a little thumb screw, and it has a wire length sort of gauge, so you can check how much you're going to strip simply by butting up your wire to there, and then that's the length you're going to strip. And you see Like already this thing has done a better job. It hasn't eaten any of the actual wire ends on the inside. It did a really good job. So I think in the shootout this thing will already be better, but we'll have to see. Also on the back it's covered, so there's less shmoo that can get in there. It also runs really smooth. I really like this thing. So yeah, and you got your little scale here that shows the length of wire you're gonna strip. Thing is great. Moving on down, you've got cutters. The cutters don't seem as sharp as the Mac Tools ones, but same thing as it's cut on both sides. So it's a double, sort of like a double bevel. So we can bring that in there. Still cuts fairly blunt, but less blunt. I guess the focus is down here, huh? Less blunt than the Mac Tools one. And then again, we've got the insulated crimper, the non-insulated crimper, and we've got the bigger crimp with the little point there. And then we've got the far bigger crimp here. However, the features are not as well defined here. The Mac Tools one had sharper sort of pawls, sharper teeth on here. But these things do have a better grip. The grip is nicer, and the tool functions smoother. So the Mac Tools was like 40 bucks. I don't know how much this costs another maker, but since it's a Chinesium tool, I'm gonna guess like 25 bucks. So really not too bad. And next we have these commercial electric full manual wire strippers. So these are basically the type where you just put it in the correct hole at the distance you want and pull the wire out. So this wire here, I believe it is 20 gauge stranded, and you'll see here it says stranded. So we go into the hole for 20 gauge stranded, close this, give it a tug, and there we go. We got a nice perfect strip, which is nice. No broken wires. Nope, no broken wires, which is nice. So it's got a gauge for solid, a gauge for stranded. It's also got little grippers at the end there. It's actually a pair of pliers, which is very nice. But these things do not have a crimper, so they're a little bit more basic. They work very, very smooth though. Pretty reliable because there's not too much to it. And they've got a set of cutters, and the cutters end up with perfect cuts. Absolutely no shaving, no flattening out of the wire, and that's because it uses a cutter on both sides instead of a flat part versus a knife. So these things are completely different. Typically these things are cheaper than the automatic wire strippers, and in some situations these are ideal, but in some situations you need the auto strippers because you don't have anything to grab onto, for example. So not too bad at all. Let's see how they do in the shootout. So here is my testing setup. I have not took out any silicone wire because silicone wire you can just do with your thumbs. You really don't need any tools for that. So no silicone. I've picked the wire, specifically this wire here, which is the hardest to strip. These are all PVC jacketed, but this 18 wire gauge stuff comes from a extremely cheap computer power supply, and therefore this is the thing I've struggled the most with stripping in the workshop here, and so that is why I picked that. And then this red and black wire, those are my usual my go-to wire. So we got PVC jacket 18 wire gauge. We've got PVC jacket 22 wire gauge. We've got one for each stripper. And then I've got this 20 wire gauge, which will just be for the cut. And all of these we're going to inspect under the microscope. So first one up is the manual, another maker, 18 wire gauge stranded. So that's over here. Slap that in there. Give that a shot. Okay, that was not too bad. I'm just going to twist up the wires, and doesn't look like we have any broken wire in there. All right, manual 22 American wire gauge. So 22 up here. Grab this and strip. Ooh, that was That was extremely nice. Gonna twist up the wire like that. Do we have any broken strands? Nope, we do not. And the manual, another maker, cut. Very nice. All right, that's all upside down. We move on to the automatic, another maker, which is this one here, and 18 wire gauge. I'm just gonna stuff this in like this and give it one shot. Ooh, yeah, it pulled one out. Oh, it pulled a couple strands out. Do we have any left in there? We have a few left in there. Uh-oh. We're going to take a look at this under the microscope. But like I said, this stuff is the toughest stuff for me to strip. I'm not too surprised. Now we'll go with this black one. Just give it a shot like that. This one does not have any wires that were cut. Oh, it does. It looks like it has one. All right, and then the cut for the automatic, another maker. And yeah, a little bit flattened. Okay. Next is the Mac Tools. So here we go. Now this was purchased, to do automotive wiring, which is very similar to this PVC stuff. So we'll see. That was actually not too bad. That's actually the best this has ever worked. We have a misfire though. All right, this one here, the automatic Mac Tools. It's not bad. You know what? It's not bad, I have to say. My experience at the shop has been way worse than this. And then the cut. There we go. Very nice. Okay, so I'm just going to move over to the computer, get the microscope set up. We're going to take a look at all of these under the microscope. I think we are all set up here. Sorry about the jiggly video, but what do you want? It's at high magnification. So the first thing we're going to look at is the manual, another maker, 18 wire gauge. So you can see here, the end looks kind of ragged, but not too bad, and I don't see any serious nicking on the copper there. Looks pretty good. Again, sorry about the wobbly. This is high magnification. So I would say this is actually an acceptable strip. It doesn't look like the wires are compromised. It looks like everything's good. It's just that the end's a little ragged there. Not too bad. Moving on to the automatic stripper that another maker sent. Here you can see the strands here, the extra strands. Oh, look, this one's bent over at a weird angle. And there we go. There's the telltale. We actually see some broken wire. So it did grab some of the strands there and sheared them off. So that's not particularly good. I think this thing is adjustable, and so I think you can avoid this. Oh, there's a whole bunch of more sheared ones. Look at all the shearing. So like, again, this is acceptable, but this is not ideal. This is definitely not what I would call ideal. You're losing a lot of strands here, but who's to say that using a pair of side cutters wouldn't yield very similar results. But either way, it was fast, which was nice. It was easy, which was nice. Also, the insulation looks less ragged than what I thought was a better strip on the manual strippers. Very interesting. Moving on now to the automatic Mac Tools stripper. And there is the telltale. Do we have broken wires? I don't know. It's hard to see. Yeah, I think we do. We have a couple there. Couple broken strands. Again, the angle on the insulation is quite sharp. Oh, and I think if I flip it around, I think we have some more broken wires there too. Yeah, look at that. They're broken and flattened. So I would say the Mac Tools one didn't do any better or worse than the Chinesium one, which is quite interesting. Moving on now to the 22 wire gauge. Here is the manual strip. So far smaller wire this time. Again, look at that. There's literally zero damage to the wires here. The actual strands are still completely intact. I'm trying to get you a view all the way around there. They look fantastic. That's incredible. I was not expecting this kind of quality, to be truly honest. Moving on to the Chinesium, another maker, auto strippers. You know, it doesn't seem like we have any missing strands here either. This functioned really well. I understand the 18 gauge wires are a little bit fussy, but it seems like this 20 gauge, oh, we do have a broken one. We have a broken one. You see it there at the very top? We have another one maybe nicked a little bit higher, but not bad. Yeah, there's another nicked one just about in the center of your screen there. Oh no, it's still continuous. It just has a nick in it. Okay, it has a nick all the way up here too. Very interesting. And let's see the Mac Tools stripper. And that one seems to have done a good job as well. I'll flip it over for you. Oh, yeah, we definitely have some broken ones there. There's at least one broken one right there. Yeah. That's unfortunate. But it's not bad overall. It's definitely not as bad as my experience would lead me to believe. That's for sure. Like if I was just going by this alone, I would say it's completely fine. Just has a few broken and squished strands. Not too bad. Now for the cut test. Here is the end of the manual stripper, the Another Maker one. It looks pretty damn good. It's like basically circular. It looks great actually. See if I can show you the end of that. Sort of end on. This is very difficult, by the way, so sorry if you get motion sick by the waviness. Yeah, that looks really good to me. Going on to the automatic stripper that Another Maker sent. You see this one's quite a bit more flattened. It's not really super sharp. See, it's been like pressed. Let's see if I can get the focus up a bit. Yeah, it's been like pressed. I don't know. See if I can get you a view just up the tip there. Up the tip and only for a second. There we go. Yeah, it's like squashed. Sorry about the waviness. Okay, let's move on to the last one. which is the Mac Tools cutter. And again, this thing is quite flattened. It's like more of a tearing action than anything else. See, it's bent over. The strands are not particularly cut at the same distance from each other. You see there? It's been flattened over. Yeah, not a fantastic cut. Yeah, not too bad though. And so there you have it, folks. If you're looking for a sort of clean cut, something that works very well, I would say go with this one, the Commercial Electric manual stripper. These things seem to do a better job, at least in little tests that we had going here, although they cannot crimp. Mind you, I'm a big fan of these kinds of ratcheting crimpers, and that might be another shootout that I'm going to do at some point soon. Let me know if you'd like to see that in the description or in the comments below. If you're looking for an automatic stripper, honestly, these two did not perform all that differently. I would say that the Chinesium one edges out a little bit, but not as big of a margin as I would have thought, based on the way this thing feels in my hand and the way that I felt like it worked. The microscope showed that this thing did strip some strands away, break some strands away. In the end, I guess it's not super critical, and it doesn't misfire like this one does. This one's been misfiring since day one. But other than that, I would go with this one for definitely your purchase if you want an automatic one. But overall, if you just want one that cuts the cleanest, I would say a manual stripper like this would be your bet. I want to thank another maker for sending these things in that package. I'm going to put links to as many of these products as I can. Definitely the Plugable microscope will definitely have a link in there somewhere. And let me know if you have any more ideas for shootouts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.